Hi everybody. So, um I thought it would be a good idea to share with you guys. I know there are quite a few persons who've been asking about what it's like to work as an eikaiwa. You want to make a decision in coming to Japan, whether you should go with an eikaiwa or an ALT as an English teacher. I have not worked as an ALT, and so I'm going to be sharing with you what it is like to work as an eikaiwa, and hopefully you can get the other information relating to ALTs from another source. I want to make it clear though that this is my personal experience, and it will vary from other persons who may be in other locations or with other companies, and so you will want to weigh this information with, take it with a grain of salt. Don't take it wholesale. It's just based on my personal experience. So here goes. I'm gonna be reading from, well, not reading, but I just wrote most of the things that I could remember to talk about, so I'll be glancing at my paper every now and then. All right, so first thing is your work hours. As an eikawa, you usually work, well, I work in the evenings and on weekends and public holidays. I work evenings, weekends, and public holidays, which is for me horrible. I hate working on public holidays and weekends. The evenings wouldn't be so bad, but working weekends and public holidays, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of Japanese culture, which I really want to experience. So that's a con for me. But as the first thing you have to consider, if you're a night person, it probably would work well for you. And I think there are some companies that will give you like maybe Sunday, Mondays off or so. So you can check that out. But the company I'm with, I work Saturdays and Sundays are the busiest days, because that's when a number of the students are available. So that's the busiest day. So I work almost every Saturday and Sunday. So that's something you want to consider. The schedule is based on your contract. So I had the option of choosing how many sessions I wanted to do per week. So there was the minimum, the maximum, and there is one in the middle. I chose the mid-range one because I wanted to, just be comfortable. I didn't want to go at the top because I felt like I wasn't quite sure what it would entail, and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't too burdened physically. So I went along with the mid-range, and it has been okay. Looking back, I probably would have gone with the higher number of lessons because there are some additional benefits that I would get if I had chosen that one. But I'm okay with the schedule that I chose. All right, so what's a typical work day like? My work day starts in the afternoon, say about 1 o'clock, thereabouts, 1 o'clock, 1:30, and I go until about 9:30. The sessions for the lessons are about 40 minutes, and there's a break between the lessons, so you get like a 10 minutes break to record the information from the previous lesson and also to prepare for the upcoming lesson if you haven't gotten a chance to do that. You also get breaks depending on the schedule for the day. You may get 2 breaks or 1 break, and for the 2 breaks they may be consecutive, so you get them back to back, or they can be separate. So you get one now, you have a lesson, and then you have another one. And those breaks, by the way, you're not compensated for them. Okay. Okay, if you have free sessions, meaning students registered for the class but didn't come, then you are expected to assist the office workers, and your assistance can be in the form of I don't want to say anything, but just helping with stuff in the office, like maybe what's that called? Not copying. Oh, I can't remember. Oh my goodness. Laminating stuff, or taking an online class, or just reviewing some information on the online registry. Or it can be just small stuff. So you fill your time with those. And if you have, say for example, your last session is free, you're not allowed to leave until the time expires, even though you have no class. So that's just one of the rules of the company, and it's just one of those sad things, but that's how it is. Okay, so okay, financially, most of the persons I've seen who've been asking questions ask whether it's more beneficial to work as an ALT or an Eikaiwa. Like I said earlier, I have not worked as an ALT, but in my over 6 months working as an Eikaiwa, the financial rewards I've been able to manage. I've been able to cover a major expense that I incurred when I came here. So yes, and I've been able to cover my regular expenses, and do some other things that I wanted to do. Yeah. So you are able to survive on the salary, but of course there are other companies, other jobs that will pay more. As an entry level English teacher, one of the downsides is that you come in at the lower end of the salary scale, or salary range, or whatever they call it. But that's just one of the disadvantages of coming. But for me, it was okay, because it was an opportunity to get some experience, and also to see what it is like to actually be teaching English. So yeah, it's just one of those things. For my company, they refunded a part of my airfare. So they have a ceiling on the amount they refund, so it didn't cover the total that I paid for my airfare, but they refunded a portion of it. Now some companies may not do that, so that's something that you will want to take into consideration. Also, there are some other benefits that they would offer that probably would compensate for the refund of the airfare. So and in my estimation, the benefits, how they calculate them, when you wait, it turns out that the refund of the airfare it's not really a big thing. It's just that for me, before I came, it was significant, because I saw how much money I was spending to come here. So I wanted to get back a portion of that. But having the information that I have now, if I had made another decision, let's say not choosing this particular contract but another one, it still would have worked out to be to my benefit. I would not have lost if I chose that one. So right, so the refund of the airfare is not given to you up front. You are given a portion with your first salary payment, and the last portion is given when your contract ends. So that's also something that you will want to bear in mind. And I guess if you break your contract, I'm not sure if you get back that other part of the bonus. I guess that's why they did it like that, to encourage persons to not break their contract. So if you decide that you're going to renew your contract, you do get a renewal bonus, and you also get a completion bonus for completing the contract. So how much is it? Is a small percentage of what you would get for salary, maybe like maybe about 10% or so of your monthly salary. So I don't know, it's something. Okay, so I did financial, did typical work day. Okay, for me, I work at different locations, and so the company reimburses my transportation allowance, and that's because I use a public transportation system. If I had gone ahead and gotten a car, the company would not have refunded my expenses related to the car. So it only applies if I use the public transportation system, which when I look at the amount I spend every month, it actually is a pretty good sum. So yeah, it adds up. It adds up. So that's something you'd want to consider. And if you were to get a car here, I think I shared that in one of my earlier videos, that it works out to be pretty expensive. One, the parking for the vehicle at your apartment, and depending on where you work, you may have to pay for parking during the days if you're driving to work and stuff. So it's a really big expense that if you don't have to, I would recommend that you don't do it unless you plan to be here for a long time and you can really see your way out. But I don't really need a car, so it the public transport works for me right now. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is, okay, the students. So you have, basically your students are the same. The core of your students remain the same. You'll have the same set of students every week or every other week, depending on how the schedule is set. If you work with different instructors, the students are usually rotated. So you'll get them, if there are 2 instructors every other week, you would have those students. But the groups or classes are not set. They're not like this week you're going to have those 3 same students that you had last week. It could be changed. Persons could not register for one reason or another. They would choose another time or another day or different things, but essentially you're teaching more or less the same students every week. So for me, that's good because you get a chance to really kind of get have a more be more familiar with the students, and for me that makes it easier to teach them. So you kind of know what they like, what they're interested in, and you can build your lessons around that. So that for me is a pro. In terms of the lessons that you do, you're not required to do any preparation like make charts or buy any flashcards or anything like that. All the material that you need are provided at the company, and you just go in on the day of work and you choose the lesson that you want to do based on the records that are there. So the records shows the lessons that the student has done before, and you would choose from a lesson that they haven't done before, and then at the end of the lesson you would record how well the student did, the strong point, the weak point, and if you have any additional feedback that you want to provide, there is a system that allows you to do that. So in terms of the lesson choice, that's completely up to you, and I mean you can tailor the lesson in a way that you are able to deliver it and the student will be able to understand it. So it allows you that flexibility, which for me is very good. The cost of living, it all depends on where you are living. If you're living in a big city like Tokyo, I understand it's extremely expensive. So I mean, for example, if you compare it to Okinawa, where I am, is relatively cheap. Well, compared to Tokyo, it's cheap. So I mean, you would survive better on your salary here in Okinawa than in Tokyo, but it all depends on what you are interested in. I didn't want to go to Tokyo because it's a big city and I'm not a big city person. Plus, I wanted to stay away from the cold. So I really chose, when I was being interviewed, I told the interviewer that it would be nice to come to Okinawa. And thank God I got to come here. Yay. Right. So it depends on the kind of lifestyle that you want. But you can survive on the salary that you're paid. And I know for a number of persons, especially from the US, that you have like student loans that you want to clear off and stuff, it can really put a big dent in those. So yeah, if you're considering it, just give it some serious thought, and I recommend that you go ahead, because either way it's a very good experience, and you can't lose from that. Okay, so I think I spoke about, there's one thing regarding the lessons. During a portion of the month, the students are asked to do an assessment of you as an instructor. So they will see whether, if they liked your lesson, if they didn't like it, what they didn't like. Some students give really good feedback, so it helps you to improve on your skill. But sometimes the feedback is not, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't mind being assessed, and I don't mind if a student says they didn't like a lesson, but be very specific. Tell me exactly what it is that you didn't like, so I can know how to improve on how I teach or what I'm teaching, or just my general mode of delivery and stuff. But so when they do that assessment, it is possible that you could be given some rewards for it. So if your reviews are good, there's a possibility of you being rewarded for it. So that's a motivation to continue to improve on your lessons. But it's a lot to take in. It's a lot, and there are so many other things I think that you probably will want to consider. These are just some of the things I thought of, and based on the questions that persons have been asking. So if you want to know more, or anything you want me to explain further, anything that I've shared in this video, please feel free to put a comment, or put a comment. I'm new to this YouTube thing, so just comment on the video and I'll try and respond to you. I've been very careful to not name the company that I'm working with, because it's company policy, and I want to abide by the policy of the company while I'm with them and even after. So I deliberately have not said which company I'm working with. But if you're interested in finding out any more information, please feel free to just send a comment and I will respond to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I trust that this has helped to make your decision a little bit easier, and that at the end of the day your decision will be to your advantage. So thanks once again. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.